Hi, this is JTony again with some more thoughts. Today I'm going to talk about Harry Potter. I loved Harry Potter. I still love a lot of it. And I introduced it to my kids. We read and listened to the books on tape and reread and re-listened to the books on tape for all the books throughout the whole Harry Potter thing. We were very early adopters. We caught on to Harry Potter the very first year it was here in America. After reading the book, my son, who was very young at the time, wanted to go as Harry Potter for Halloween. And we went to a very well, a lot of people went there, a very popular area to go trick-or-treating. Some friends lived there and we went over there. And my son was in contact of various kinds with several hundred people. It was very packed, very popular. Lots of people saw his costume. Lots of people talked to us and stuff. The entire night, 2 people recognized him as Harry Potter. He had the scar, the glasses, the broom, a snitch that I made for him, the whole scene. He was obviously Harry Potter, but at the time, it was so early that nobody knew Harry Potter. Now, you'd go out there and people wouldn't talk to you because they were so tired of it. But with all the Harry Potters that would be around. So we were early adopters. We were big on it early on. I'm feeling now it's kind of time to recognize the failures of Harry Potter. That it's not a perfect book and not a perfect set of books to be reading to kids. Not that we shouldn't read it to kids, but I think we should read it to kids with the knowledge of some of the problems that Harry Potter has. Biggest thing with Harry Potter is it's a book about privilege. All the books are, I'll call it often a book. I know it's a set of books, but whatever. It is a book about privilege. Harry Potter is a child of privilege, extreme privilege. He doesn't start out that way. He's, when he's stuck with the Dursleys, he doesn't seem to have privilege. He seems to have a very big lack of it. But the second he gets into the wizarding world, his privilege explodes in his lap. He has money, lots of it. It becomes a problem between him and some of his friends a couple of times. He has recognizability. Everybody knows who he is. Everybody sees him. Everybody knows him. He has power. He is very good at being a wizard. Not as good as Hermione, but he's good. He's very good. The Weasleys also have privilege. Harry's not the only one who has privilege in these books. The Weasleys have a lot of privilege. They're not rich like Harry is, or like the Malfoys or others, but they have a very strong standing in the wizarding world. They have lots of actual power as wizards, and they have the standing as a purebred family. And that's another place that gets troubling, is that Harry Potter is also, even though it doesn't seem like it, is also a book about race and racism. Hermione is incredibly talented to an extreme extent, also incredibly studious and wants to continue to learn and does everything she can to do so. But she's not born in a wizarding family. She's born to Muggles, and so she's doesn't have quite the same privilege that Harry does. As much as the Voldemort and the others hate Harry, they pay him lots of deference because he has the privilege of being from a wizarding family. Even Draco's dad is in some bit of awe around Harry in a certain sense. And that's why. It's just because of that privilege. I'm not sure that privilege is treated very well in the books. It doesn't talk about trying to bring people up from a lack of privilege. It doesn't talk about, although it talks about how bad the racism is with mudbloods, etc. It doesn't really go into any detail about how to fix that and whether it's worth fixing or if it's going to fix itself. There's a difference in which house you come from in Hogwarts. Very specifically, the Slytherins are all bad, all of them. There's not a single good Slytherin shown in the books. Even Slughorn is a problem. He is not a good man. I always found that a problem in the books. I always thought the Slytherins would end up being the allies, the unexpected allies that Harry would need. That somehow Harry would find a Slytherin who was good, who believed that a good person can use certain skills that are considered bad, but use them in a good way and actually make a difference. I also thought the Slytherins would come to the defense of Hogwarts itself in the final battle. All the Slytherins are gone. That's wrong to me. I don't understand why J.K. Rowling wrote it that way. I always expected there to be some joining of the houses together to unify, to fight the last battle, and it didn't happen. I find that problematic in reading a book like that to children. It's from my own experience, it's like people who are Republican who happen to hate Trump, but they believe in Republican values, but they hate Trump and they hate what he's doing. That tells me that they're good people who are using certain tools that I don't agree with, but that at least they're using them for the best possible way. I'm not sure why J.K. Rowling wrote it that way. I know part of why she wrote what she wrote was because she felt she was at a loss for privilege. She felt that she was poor and used and unappreciated as a human being in the same way that Harry was. And she wrote this fantasy about someone who gets out. And she's gotten out herself now. And that's what the other part of this is about. I have a hard time separating artists from their art. Sometimes it's easier, sometimes it's not. Picasso was an ass. He was misogynistic. He was a jerk. He was not nice to people. He was kind of an ass. But he was so talented, and what he was working on was so important that I have to say I let him slide. He also is dead and in the past. There's nothing that I can do about it, and the art is still there, and the art still stands as vital to all of us. Woody Allen? I can't watch Manhattan anymore. Manhattan was one of my favorite films back in the day. I loved that movie. I loved what he did with it. I thought it was amazing. Now, it's an excuse for an older man to basically take advantage of a younger woman, an underage woman, which he did and continues to do now. So, Harry Potter, Woody Allen, I can't watch his movies anymore. And I've watched a lot of them, and I've watched a lot of them many times. I can't watch them anymore. Now, my last video was about cancel culture. This is not cancel culture. I'm not promoting that nobody watch Woody Allen's films. I am promoting that you watch Woody Allen's films understanding who he is as an artist and as a person. And if you can stomach his art after that, which is incredibly affected by who he is. I mean, Manhattan is basically a pre-telling of what he was going to do later on in life by uh, uh, taking his own stepdaughter for his wife, basically. Um, yeah, I have a problem watching his films now because I feel like they are excuses, apologies, not an apology, but apologetics apologies, reasons why he is doing what he's doing. So watch his films knowing who the man is. It is important because it does make a difference. Roman Polanski is another person, known rapist of a 13-year-old. He's an amazing filmmaker. His films are amazing. His films all have aspects of his own life in them, and he had a horrible life. Not only was he a rapist, but he's also the sad part of it is his wife and child were murdered by the Mansons. What was that do to a person? We can see some of what it does to a person in his films since then. Know what you're looking at when you look at a piece of art. You can divorce the art from the artist. I think it's better not to. I think it's better. Artist's intentions aren't the same thing as knowing what the artist's life is like and how that might have affected things. That's important. And if you don't like the artist as a person, I got no problem with you saying I'm not going to enjoy their art. Got no problem with that. You are supporting that artist as a person by enjoying their art. So, Rowling has come out as being very anti-trans. A very difficult thing. She's not being very kind in her assessment of what qualifies a person to be a man or a woman. She's being very judgmental, and she's come out basically as a TERF. And TERFism is not pretty. It's not fun. Biggest thing about TERFism is that they're not really feminists anymore. Feminism is about finding equality between genders. That equality is they're treated equally. That's what feminism really is. That's all it is. Is equality between the genders. It has a push more towards women because women have been pushed down for so very, very long and have been made unequal. But they're not asking for anything more than equal rights. That's, the Equal Rights Amendment. It's equal rights. And by not accepting that trans women have the same issues and questions and lack of rights that other women do, shows that they're no longer about equal rights anymore. Jo Rowling is not about equal rights for women because she refuses to accept the equal rights of people she doesn't consider women. And that means that she's for women above others, and that's not what feminism is about. So, calling Jo Rowling a feminist is wrong. I think if she was a feminist, she would have written her books differently. I think there are some gender and sex issues in those books that are hugely problematic. And I really think that that's something to look at when you're reading the books as well. This person who calls herself a feminist is not promoting what feminism is all about. So, I'm a feminist. I believe that women should have equal pay, should have equal rights, should have equal access, and should be treated equally, 100%. And that's it. That's what J.K. Rowling should be saying right now. That she believes in women having equal rights. That's all. And she doesn't. So, she believes some women are better than others. Some women are more women than others. And that's not right. So I'm putting Harry Potter away. I am recommending other people consider that as a possibility. Look at your relationship with Harry Potter and see if maybe it's time to grow out of it. It's been fun. It's been fun putting on the sorting hat and figuring out what houses we all belong to. I have fun considering what other people's houses are in, but I think we can do better. I think we can do more. I think we can put less energy into Harry Potter and find something more appropriate and inclusive. And that when it talks about privilege, it talks about extending that privilege to all, not keeping it for yourself. So, those are my thoughts. Still don't believe in cancel culture. It doesn't exist. Still do believe in making your own decisions about the stuff that you choose to take in, entertainment-wise and art-wise, and that you consider where you're putting your resources towards those things. I think it's perfectly appropriate to call out people like J.K. Rowling and stop putting money into Harry Potter. So those are my thoughts. Let me know if you have any thoughts along the same lines or different lines or whatever, and I hope you have a great day. Take care.